السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أما بعد فأوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله، فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى. صلوات. Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, first of all, I advise myself for taqwa, parhezgari and piety, and then I advise all of you for the same. Last Friday, I had initiated a discussion, and I would like to just continue the same topic with some more details, and we may continue this discussion for 1 or 2 more weeks to finally reach to a conclusion and a plan. We said there are approximately 2 billion Muslims in this world, and if I'm right, there are almost 49 countries in this world where Muslims are in majority. The Muslim majority countries are approximately 59, where they have their own governments and they have their own treasury and their own systems, and they are majority countries. So of course they have votes in General Assembly, they are members of many other international organizations and international forums. But on the other hand, when we see the conditions of Muslims in the world, and if we see that what role these Muslim countries or Muslim population have in this world, if they have any voice, if they have any influence, if they have any power, so it seems that, meaning we are almost as we don't exist, just zero power. From last 4 months, we are all just talking and crying and weeping and begging for this ceasefire in Gaza, or even to go and help those women and children and provide them some food and some necessities of life or some medicine, and we cannot do that. So Muslims in number, yes, they are 2 billion. Yes, they have 49 countries for saying sake, but actually it is as they are living in this world as strangers, as passengers, as people of meaning no status, and so that is very disturbing and very disappointing picture and very disappointing situation of the Muslim Ummah. And this is a kind of situation that it happened with Muslims after ruling the world for almost 1,000 years. Muslims were people who were the movers and shakers in this world, and they had a big empire, a big government, a big role for almost 1,000 years. And then in last about 300-400 years, so we have gone down and down and down and down, and that is the situation. So I'm sure all of you are educated people and you have background and you know the reasons why this is the state of the affairs. In Khutbah Jumma, I can only give you a few pointers, make kind of brief comments, only to start the discussions within your families and groups and friends. So at least when we start some discussion, we hope that when people will meet each other after Jummah, on the same day, next day, on weekend, whenever they will see each other, so they will talk about it, that what was discussed, what was the topic, what was the discussion, and then people should share their views on it, whether they will agree or they will disagree or they will get more discussions on the topic. But whatever you hear in majlis or in khutbah, I would recommend that don't leave it just here and don't close the chapter. This is just, we only start the discussion here. We only give you some topic to think about. We raise some questions, we raise some discussions, we give you some food for thought. But then it is up to you that when you go back, then you think about these issues, you talk about these issues, you go and kind of have some brainstorming. And this is how we have to finally prepare ourselves and our communities for the challenges which we are facing. So today, very briefly, yes, on one hand, we are 2 billion Muslims, and we are supposed to be, meaning partners in power in this world, and we should have some role to play at international stage, and people should listen to us, and people should consult us, and people should have some concern about us. But reality is, my brothers and sisters, that it's only a claim that we are 2 billion Muslims. In reality, if you dig little deeper, you will find overwhelming majority of these 2 billion Muslims, they are not Muslims. They are children of Muslims. They were born in Muslim families. They carry Muslim names, and they think they are Muslims. But if you go and open the Quran and you open the books of Hadith and you try to determine a criteria to see who is Muslim and who is truly a Muslim, or who is someone who claims to be a Muslim and who is truly a Muslim, you will see that most of us will be actually out. This is only our claim that we are Muslims. Because we were born in Muslim family, we inherited certain belief system, certain practices, and we are doing some rituals. So we think that we are Muslims and we are very proud Muslims, and we think that we are, many of us at the most will say, I know that I need to do better, I need to do more, I am not that good Muslim, but I am, alhamdulillah, a staunch Muslim, a strong Muslim, a good Muslim, and we will have all those kind of claims. Many Muslims in the world you will find, let's start from there, they will say, I am Muslim but I am not practicing Muslim. So, very secular, very liberal, very many people with high degrees and diplomas from universities, highly successful people in the business or in the professional world. In many countries, they will say, yeah, I come from Muslim family, I am Muslim but I don't practice. So anyone who knows Islam, he knows that in Islam there is no luxury like non-practicing Muslims. Either you are Muslim and practicing, either you are out. You cannot claim that you are a Muslim but you are not a practicing Muslim. Islam is a name of practice. The word Islam, al-aslama, yuslamu, Islam is a verb. It means to submit, to surrender. So it's not a philosophy, it's not a kind of dharam, it is not a religion, it's not something that I can just agree or believe in certain things and then I have no duty, I have no responsibility, I am not supposed to do anything. That's something which we have come up with this kind of, we saw non-practicing Christians, we saw non-practicing Jews, we saw non-practicing people from other faith traditions. We thought if in other faiths people can say I am Christian but I don't practice, I am Jew but I don't practice, so I am also a Muslim who don't practice. It doesn't work like that. So a Muslim is someone that who practices whatever Islam says. Otherwise, there are very clear ayat in Quran and ahadith that which explain that these are merely their own claims. Allah doesn't accept them as Muslims. Prophet doesn't accept them as his follower Muslims. Our Imams have disassociated themselves from such followers. They say, you may claim you are our Shias, but we don't accept you as our Shias. These are only your own claims. So, in order to qualify as Shia of Ahlul Bayt, or a true Muslim and as a follower of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and a true Muslim to stand in front of Allah and say, I am a Muslim and I believe in you, and Allah also agrees that yes, you are a Muslim and you believe in me, there is a criteria, my brothers and sisters. And that criteria is not only a claim. It's not only a claim that I am a Muslim and nobody can tell me you are not Muslim. So that's number one. The second thing is, even those who practice, they have made compartments. This is the area where I am a practicing Muslim. This is the area where I am a liberal Muslim. This is the area of my life where I am a secular Muslim. This is the area where I am a national Muslim. This is the area where I am a sectarian Muslim. This is the area where I am a confused Muslim. And I don't know, I have no position on that. Islam, one of the beauties of Islam is that Islam is a very crystal and clear religion. Islam doesn't have gray areas, Islam doesn't have those kind of ambiguities. The one of the beauties of Islam which distinguishes it from the Christianity or the Judaism or from what you call these Hindus and Buddhists and all those other kind of deen is Islam is very straightforward. Simple to understand, simple to follow. And if you, while I'm telling you this, if you are thinking about some of the ambiguities or some of those kind of gray areas, those gray areas are created by people like us, the ulama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He asked us only this: believe in me as one God. For example, one God, creator. Now, wahdatul wujud, wahdatul shuhud, and all those kind of the discussions are created by these philosophers and Sufis and Arifs centuries later. And we all know when we do talqeen for the mayyit, so when angels come to you and ask you, who is your Lord, man rabbuk, kul fi jawabihima, what do we teach him? Allahu Rabbi. That's the only answer which Allah is looking for. Allah is not looking anything more than that. Allahu Rabbi, for example, when it comes about Allah, whether you can see Allah with eyes, whether you cannot see Allah with your eyes, whether Allah has leg, whether Allah doesn't have leg, whether Allah has body, Allah doesn't have body, Allah knows this, Allah doesn't know this, Allah does this, Allah doesn't, meaning all those kind of the hair splitting discussions, scholars, they have started doing it, and people brought them in these discussions, they get into it, but read the Quran, read the Hadith. It's only Allahu Rabbi. If you are clear on that, that's good enough. About Prophet, it's Prophet Muhammad is the servant of Allah, the slave of Allah, and the messenger of Allah. Allahu Sallallahu. Whether Prophet was created before this creation millions of years, or he was not created millions of years before, whether Prophet had shadow or Prophet didn't have shadow, Prophet was created from this kind of clay or from that kind of clay, whether he was created from dust or he was created from nur, meaning these are all useless discussions. These are all useless discussions. And these discussions have divided people and got into wasting of time and kind of calling each other kafir and munafiq and this and that. The only important thing which we all in the prayer say, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasul. These are my just two very simple examples. Quran, it's a book of Allah. It's a revelation. It's makhluk, it is not makhluk, it is meaning it. How did it come down and all together, ayat by ayat, surah by surah, on fourth sky, on the heart of Prophet, on the mind of Prophet, this way or that way, all those are the luxuries of ulama. Those are the things which scholars have to enjoy. They have nothing else to do. So they are not busy in practical things, so they have to sit down and do these theoretical discussions. I spend my life in those issues. So don't think that meaning I learned, I taught, I engaged in those debates and discussions and finally found them all useless. It's just killing of time. You can spend your time in much better things. There are much better things which you can do. Same again, you continue about Imams and Ahlul Bayt and companions of Prophet and wives of Prophet and history and this and that. Islam, for reasons we have written this ayat in Dome. I don't know how many of you who come regularly here in this masjid and bothered to look into this ayat. You see this ayat? This calligraphy here? We selected this ayat from Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 177. 177 explains, it defines who is Muslim. Who is Muslim? It talks about those major beliefs, and then it talks about all those major practices, and it talks about all those major Islamic values. It's the name of beliefs, practices, and values. When you today go back, open the Quran, go in chapter number 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, look at ayat 177. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says claims don't mean anything. And this laysal bir antuwallu, that it's not just good enough that you face toward east or west. These are meaning, those are not everything. Facing east or west or claiming that I am Muslim or I am Christian or I am Jew, these are just claims. You need to be practical people. You need to translate your faith by your actions, by your practices. And again, you should have proper Islamic beliefs, then proper Islamic practices, and then proper Islamic values. So the point is, people have made compartments. On 5 times a day, I am a Muslim. I will go to the masjid, or I will turn toward Kaaba and Qibla, and I will pray. Ladies will take out their hijab from their purses and from their bags and put that, and all that. All of a sudden you see that Hazrat Maryam is praying there. And then when the prayer is done, again it is, I don't want to use word here. So, and with many of us, the same thing. When we are among ourselves and at masjid, then we are one kind of people. But when we are at work, at job, in business, in politics, with others, we will just follow the trends. We will go with everybody else. Islam doesn't allow that. It's not a religion which says that it only teaches you the worship and it only teaches you the beliefs, but when it comes to live your life, then you are left alone and do whatever you want. Paul did that with Christianity, but Islam doesn't have that. We have halal, we have haram, we have permissible, we have things which are not permissible, we have law. As we discussed, Islam is not a religion, it is a way of life. It's a way of life. And it's a complete way of life. Now, look around and look to those 2 billion Muslims. We have 2 billion Muslims, but how many of them look at Islam as a complete way of life, and then they live Islam, and then they practice Islam? And everywhere, whatever happens, whatever comes up, they look, what does Islam dictate to me? What should I do here? Islam is not our point of reference. We will not look to Islam for guidance. We will just do what everybody else is doing. And then we have lame excuses and sometimes genuine excuses, but all we have a long list of excuses. So, first, we are only children of Muslims. We were born in Muslim homes, that's why we are Muslim. But we never bothered to really look into the truth of Islam, and we never got revolted or converted to Islam. I worked for many years with converts, and one thing which really I was used to admire, and I sensed and I discovered that this first generation of converts, they have much stronger commitment with the deen, with religion, than the people that mostly who were born Muslims. Because born Muslims, they took Islam just for granted. They never even had to look into these things. But a convert had to make a very big decision to change, to leave the faith, one faith, and enter another faith. With understanding, new faith will have duties, responsibilities, do's, don'ts, whatever. They have another meaning. Again, that community goes through its own problems. So you get people in and then their children out very quickly, meaning wives will come in and then they will go. Most of my students were from converts community. So every time you hear somebody became Muslim, somebody went back, somebody is in, somebody is out, the mother is in, daughter is out, daughter is in, mother is out. So this keeps happening. Because it is difficult to understand and then to practice. Islam is a commitment. It is a commitment, it's a duty, it's a responsibility, and at many times you have to make difficult decisions, and many times you have to give up from so many things. It's not easy, and that's why we start making the we start picking and choosing. So that was the second area. We make the compartments and we choose the areas where we are wherever comfortably we can be Muslim. And wherever we feel that there is a heat, we will be challenged, we will be confronted, we will be singled out, we will go through some difficulties and hardships in that area. Oh, we are sinful people. Who can practice the whole Islam? Who can practice the entire Islam? That statement is uttered. Who can practice this whole Islam? I'm practicing here, I'm practicing there, I know I'm weak in that area, so maybe Allah gives me tawfiq. Sometime later I can get into that. The last point what I'm making, and then rest of the discussion we will have next Friday. In Islam, Islam is very clear on this issue. I don't know how Muslims can come up with this thing that there is a separation between religion and politics. People read Quran on daily basis and they know the Islam, they know the history of Islam, they know the lives of prophets, and they know the lives of Imams and Ahlul Bayt, and all the struggle what every Nabi and every Imam had gone through that. And then still they will say, no, the religion, there is no, religion and politics are separate. Islam doesn't believe in that. Our every messenger of Allah and every prophet who came, he didn't come only to teach people that revealed book, the text, to be Qari and Hafiz, and then only pray and do a few rituals, but in the rest of the areas of your life, you just with the king or the kingdom or with the system, whatever the system is outside. Why every prophet had problem with every king? Read Quran. What was the problem between Ibrahim and Namrud? Do you think that Namrud was a very religious guy? And since Ibrahim was not following his religion, so it was a religious fuss or it was a religious fight? It was not a religious fight. What was the problem between Musa and Pharaoh? Do you think it was a religious debate or religious fight? It was not a religious fight. And look at the life of all Anbiya. Anbiya had a system which was different, a system of life which was different than system of the kings and the governments of that time. And Anbiya were not only the religious guides, but they were guide in each and every matter of the life. And they wanted to change people entirely to this new system. So that new system of government, that new system of politics, that new system of culture, everything. Do you think that if Prophet would keep praying in Ghar Hira, in the cave of Hira, anybody would have any problem with him? Prophet was used to go to Hira on daily basis and he was doing his ibadat in Hira. Has anybody went after him and say, why do you come here in cave and you don't come to Masjidul Haram and you don't worship our lords or our gods? That was not the problem. The fight with Prophet Muhammad was changing this whole doctrine of life, this whole system of life. From rituals to business to family to politics to everything. And did Prophet Muhammad only kept sitting in the masjid? Or he established a community, he established a society, he established a government, and while he was the Prophet, he was the head of the state. So can you say why Prophet got into politics? His duty was, he was a godly man, he was a prophet, he was a messenger of Allah. He should just sit in the masjid and teach people rituals of the religion and the ibadat, and he shouldn't get involved with the politics. He should leave this politics to these other politicians. Prophet didn't do that. And then we as followers of Ahlul Bayt, we Shias, we followers of Ahlul Bayt, how can we interpret the life of Amirul Mu'mineen and that stand of Janab Sayyida, and then this whole life of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib and the life of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain? Why did Imam Hussain leave Medina? Today is, by the way, this is the date when he left Medina and he went to Makkah, 28th of Rajab. This is the day when he started his qiyam and he revolted, or he stood up against the government of time. So, what was the fight about? Yazid was not praying, or the people in the time have stopped, for example, praying. They had stopped doing Hajj. They were not paying zakat. That was not the case. Only about the Yazid himself, we have those narrations that he was careless and he was not praying or he was not practicing. But that was not the only reason for Imam. The society was still praying and fasting and doing Hajj and doing all those kind of things. Imam comes all the way in Karbala. He is martyred. And then what happens with Imam Sajjad? Imam Sajjad should go back and he said, enough is enough. My father has done enough. Now I will just not bother to do anything. Again, our Zakireen and our poets, they don't tell the whole story. Imam Sajjad was not a passive individual. Imam Sajjad was not someone who was only crying and only reading du'as. If that was the case, then why would they go and martyr him? Imam Sajjad was martyred. Imam Muhammad Baqir and Imam Ja'far Sadiq, people again gave some wrong impression that, they were only involved in teachings and they were doing ijtihad and teaching ijtihad. If you were doing that, why would they come after you, and why would they martyr Imam Muhammad Baqir and Imam Ja'far Sadiq? Why they would become shaheed if they would not challenge the king, if they would not challenge the system, if they would not oppose that popular government or popular trends or popular politics of the time? We just commemorated the shahadat of Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wasalam, who was jailed for 14 years. Why your seventh Imam has to be in jails for almost 14 years in the time of those so-called four caliphs? Mansur, Dawaniki, his son, Mahdi, Hadi, and then his grandson, Harun. Four tyrants kept him in jail for 14 years and finally he was martyred. So if he was a man who was only doing salat and only doing dua and only doing tasbih, and he was only, as we say, religious man, spiritual man, a man of rituals, then he shouldn't be any challenge or any problem or any concern for Harun. Imam Musa al-Kadhim was engaged in the issues of his time and his society, and he was confronting the tyrant ruler in his possible ways, in whatever ways he was able to do that. So my point, my brothers and sisters, is that when we say Islam has nothing to do with politics, religion has nothing to do with politics, we don't like that marja taqleed, that who has position on these issues. We would like to follow a marja taqleed that who has no role, who has no voice, who has no position on these important issues of our life. We are withdrawing from most of our duties and most of our responsibilities. So, Islam, yes, we have 2 billion Muslims, but what kind of Muslims? That is a question. And I will conclude my khutbah here. We need to re-examine ourselves. What kind of Muslim we are? Where do we stand? What do we believe? Yes, we don't believe in dirty politics. We don't believe in politics of greed and power just for power. But Amirul Mu'mineen, our Imams, everyone wanted to take power in their hand if it was possible. Prophet took power in his hand. Imams tried their best. You cannot blame them why they were after power. Power is not bad and not good just by itself. It depends. Why do you want to have power? What you will do with the power? And how, at what cost you want to have power? But power itself, a powerful Muslim is better than a weak Muslim. A Muslim who can help himself and help others is much better than a Muslim who is a burden on others' shoulders. Or a helpless Muslim. A healthy individual, of course, can make more contribution than someone who is bedridden. So it's a common sense thing. So power in itself is not bad. Yes, they have labeled it in such a way, and these Sufis and these people who apparently they think that they have no role in the world, they have created that kind of thinking. Being faqir is good, being gharib is good, being poor is good, being a helpless person, marginalized, without anything, and they created such that even we like those Maulanas, their one jurab is of one kind, the other jurab is of the other kind. They will go and touch and kiss those feet. Oh, this Maulana, mashallah, see how simple he is. Godly man. One jurab lal, one jurab pili. This is the concept created by Sufis who have brought Islam and Muslims to this condition. Prophet, when he would come out from his home, so they say he had a mirror. He would come and stand in front of mirror. He would do comb his hairs, he would comb his beard, he would fix his imamah, he would come out just in a presentable condition. Sufis taught us, no, don't do that. You should be all messy, smelly. Prophet, most of the budget was being spent on perfume. Prophet never spent his funds or his money on anything else as much as he was used to spend on perfume. Once he heard somebody was going to Rome. At that time, Rome was today's Turkey. And he said, I heard that they wear some kind of pants which are very good for you to keep your body fully covered. Because Arabs didn't have at that time the custom of wearing the pants or pajama or something. They were used to have just this kind of what you call long, dhoti. Kya kahenge isko? Something which we wear during the ihram. And all of us, we have gone on Hajj, we know many times what happens. Prophet was a man of very shy nature and very reserved, and he knew that this typical Arab stuff for covering yourself doesn't cover you all the time. And you end up meaning that you are revealed. So Prophet was so concerned, and they brought this example so modern that at that time he imported 2 pants from the room to wear while he was Prophet in Medina. And I can, if I continue going, I have so much to share with you, but the time is over. The point is, my brothers and sisters, we need to correct our understandings about Islam. We need to understand, we need to read Quran and read what is between the lines. We need to understand the true nature of Islam, and then we need to challenge ourselves to be a true and full Muslims. And if we become full and true Muslims, then inshallah, if we are 2 billion in the world, definitely world cannot ignore us. We will be able to defend ourselves, we will be able to defend our fellow brothers and sisters, and we will be actually the people who will establish the justice in the world, no discrimination, no discrimination of any kind, and a just society with godly principles. It will be only established when the true Muslims will get active and involved, and when they will play their full role in this world. Please recite a salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وصل على محمد وعلى آبائه الكرام ما اتصل الليالي والأيام. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. الله أكبر الله أكبر
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد